Hi, my name is Lauren Kay, and welcome to The Games That Made Me. We started this podcast to look at the lives and stories of those who are working in the games and esports industry in an effort to look at the games that shaped their lives. Today we're joined by Mollie, aka the English Simmer. Mollie is a content creator and Twitch streamer who is best known for creating Sims gameplay content. You can follow Mollie on Twitter at English Simmer. I loved chatting with Mollie this episode. Her whole life leading up to her becoming a Sims content creator, it just sounds so amazing to have seven siblings. We cover such a wealth of topics of her growing up with games and sort of what she has in store for the future. This is a really great episode, particularly if you like plum bobs, so stay tuned. Mollie.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited to get to speak with you. I love what you do. And then also, I think your story is just so interesting. And starting off, I just want to talk a bit about sort of your journey as a person. Because I find it incredible that you are one of seven. That's incredible. What was that like growing up in that type of household?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All of my siblings are older than me. So I was sort of the baby of the family, very much so. They were all already teenagers. And so it was just constant, obviously gaming was a massive part of that, and then it just felt like I had all these adults around me, really, to me, who all just wanted to look after me and make me laugh and do silly things with me. So it was a lot of fun. I really loved even if they weren't living with us at the time, they'd come around every weekend. We're all still really close knit. So yeah, I feel very lucky to be in such a big family that is all so close together.
Yeah, no, it sounds amazing. And talk about games as well. So were all of your siblings sort of into games as well? Did they kind of introduce you, bring you to the good side of the games?
Yeah, so sports were a big thing, and then also video games. So every new console, mum would treat us to at Christmas. So we all had me and my brother, who's closest to me in age, we both had Game Boys growing up, so we'd always been in the back seat of the car playing our Game Boys, or in a restaurant playing with Game Boys. And then they had a PC, but I didn't really use it too much. And then my dad actually had a PC at his house. I think we got rid of the one at my mum's house quite early on. So when I went around to his, that's when I got to play all my PC games. But yeah, consoles were a constant. I remember they'd bargain with me. They were like, Mollie, we will only play FIFA with you if you promise not to cry if we beat you. I was a sore loser.
Yeah.
So growing up 1 of 7, it was very competitive, but I was such a baby. If I lost a game, I would just sob, and they'd be like, no, we're not playing anymore. That's it.
Oh, bless you. Oh, but you gotta, that's the thing, right? That has to be your card when you're the youngest. The crying is it should be just a given.
Yeah, my hands are small.
Yeah.
You all watch football and play football, and I don't really, and I'm so tiny.
Yeah.
Feel sorry for me.
Yes, exactly. Admire me. But that sounds amazing, and it's just so nice to hear such a lovely family story like that as well. And talking about families, there is a big family game that's in your life. The Sims is huge, and I have such fond memories of playing The Sims. So when did your sort of Sims journey begin?
When I was 6 years old, which it definitely shouldn't have, but
okay,
I feel with The Sims 1, it was very basic, bare bones. Sims 2 was really where it started to get a little bit raunchy, and I'd have to turn my laptop screen away from my parents when those cutscenes were happening.
Yeah.
Because it would zoom in on it, and I was like, whoa, I am 12. My parents do not want to see this. And so, my brother, I think, brought it back like unopened from his friend's house. They were like, we're never going to play this game, like take it home. And so we booted it up onto my dad's PC. It was like an old like Windows 98 like grey big monitor. And all the fans like whirring as soon as Sims loaded up, and it took about half an hour to load into the game. And then I think I really fell in love with it probably when we installed like Sims on Holiday and Unleashed. I loved Unleashed and being able to like look after pets and go to the pet shop and see like the cats and the dogs in their little cases. So I think that was when I really fell in love with it. But I just absolutely adored it from the get-go. I didn't really play with dolls growing up. So like when I was really young, I had Polly Pockets, but that was more because they look cool.
Oh, they're
like,
so cool
on my
Polly
shelf.
Pockets. Yeah.
And so I was never really like into Barbie or anything like that. So I feel like Sims was like my pixelated version of a doll's house, and I was like, I can tell any story I want to.
Yeah, 100%. And like with your version, because in my version of The Sims, I had like a trailer before the game started where it like showed all these things. Did you all over here have like a little trailer of things when the game started?
Yeah, so it shows like what's actually in the game, and it plays like the tune and stuff like
But the thing was that some of the stuff was like not in my not in the traditional version of the game.
I can't remember if that was.
It had like I used to get really frustrated with it because it's like I just would see these like sort of items or things that you could get, and I'm just like, I don't have that. Like I would hunt down in The Sims 1 to find that
which
like
expansion it
like
came with.
What is this? But yeah, no, I mean Holiday and Unleashed, like those were such great titles. But yeah, no, I think like it's interesting how The Sims kind of evolved and grew up with us as well. Like, do you feel that way?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I felt it kind of was just there when I needed it to be there, which was really nice. And obviously Sims 1, if you go to look at it nowadays, is so stripped back. Like I always forget that Sims don't age. Like you have a baby and it stays a baby forever. And the amount of times I got like a baby taken away because I just kind of forgot that it was just in its bassinet. Yeah. And it's wild to think how it's shifted so much over the years, like with each part of the franchise. And I really do feel as if it's grown with a lot of us.
What house was your favorite house to sort of play with when you started out?
I remember I always used to like draw house designs on like bits of paper. Like if I was in a restaurant and I couldn't, like I'm not a builder, so I do not build in The Sims. I feel like Sims 1 was really like where I built, really, because when I was a kid I was like, I want to make the family and build the house, whereas now with like 4 I have the gallery and stuff like that, so I'm just like, I'll just download some ones that's better than mine. And I always used to make those, you know, like the U-shape houses with like a pool in the middle. It was like a Mediterranean villa-esque thing. I just remember making those all of the time. Like that was my go-to house.
They were so efficient. Like in terms of getting around the house, like they were just so much nicer. Like I found that when I built, I always built, because I'm not a builder either. I built for efficiency.
I think you could have everything on one floor. So you didn't have to go up and down floors constantly. And then you used to just cut it off in like squares. And every square was just a different room. And it was like, this is great. Let's just stick with that.
Like with that in mind as well, you know, were your parents quite like supportive of you playing games like The Sims when you were sort of just starting out with it?
Like in terms of like career, or like way back when I was
just way
like
back
6.
when you were playing it?
Yeah, they were absolutely fine with me playing it. Like to be fair, my parents just encouraged gaming, really. They never had any bad words to say about it. Like they didn't think that it was gonna like corrupt us in any way as children. The only thing that they were kind of like strict upon was obviously like 18 plus games. They were like, if you want to drive around in GTA, turn down the music. And my brother had to be in the room with me, and I just got on a motorbike and literally drove around. That was the one thing that they were strict upon when it came to video games. But yeah, everything else, even like playing at restaurants and stuff like that, they were like, it makes them happy, it keeps them quiet, like let them get on with it. And so Sims was exactly the same. They were like, they're enjoying it, it keeps them quiet, like they're occupied for hours. I think one point my mum got slightly annoyed with me, I think, when The Sims 2 came out, because I had like my laptop then. And so she'd be like, Mollie, dinner is ready. Like, please come down and get your dinner. I'm like, I can't. My Sims need me. So that was the only time where when I got super into it, like during the summer holidays, when you had that big stint of time to just dive into The Sims.
But how much it elevated with The Sims 2 as well. Like, I talk about like storylines with characters.
My favorite.
It's seriously so good. Which was your sort of favorite area to go into, like map wise?
I always call it Veronaville, but it's Verona, isn't it? Like
like
Verona.
Shakespeare. Yeah.
So Veronaville was definitely my favorite. I just love the Romeo and Juliet storyline.
It was so inventive.
Was obsessed. I love Strangetown as well.
Yeah.
Because of all like the weird things going on. Obviously the Bella Goth storyline and things like that.
Yeah,
and
where is Bella?
Yeah. So I did enjoy Strangetown, but definitely Veronaville was like where my heart
They need
was
to bring that back. Like, honestly, like if they just picked a... Could you imagine if they just had a Great Gatsby themed map?
It would be so good.
I would love that. Like just Daisy and it would just be so good. Okay, EA, we have to chat.
Let's get the petition going.
Yeah, right? Like it would be so good. And then, you know, with regards to The Sims, like The Sims obviously has like carried on through your life quite significantly. Like, how did you sort of come about the Sims community when you were sort of starting on this journey of content creation?
Yes, so Sims 3, people will know if they watch my content or anything. I'm not quiet about this fact. I wasn't a fan of The Sims 3 when it came out, so I was so used to The Sims 2. I had so many hours in The Sims 2. It was unreal. And I got so overwhelmed when 3 came out, and you had to look after multiple Sims at the same time. I remember I started off with a dad and a son, and the son would like be at school, but then the dad would be at work, and I'd have to like keep an eye on both of them. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, I'm not used to this. It's too much. And I remember the dad being at work and the teen starting like a fire at home after cooking. And I was like, I can't cope with this. Like, take me back to the comfort of The Sims 2. Yeah. So I put The Sims 3 off for ages. And then I think I finally got back into it, like, maybe around university when that came out, and I was like, I do not understand this game. This is such a leap from 2. Let me go and see if anyone is talking about it on YouTube. So I literally just YouTube like Sims 3 university, and then Let's Plays started to pop up, and I had never seen a Let's Play. Back in the Sims 2 era, I was super into watching like music video machinima.
I loved those, like all the My Chemical Romance style videos. So good, so good.
So I knew that there was an element of that, but I was just expecting to see those types of videos for the Sims 3. And then it was people just sat commentating what their Sims were doing and telling storylines and things like that. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And then a couple of those creators had like Twitters linked and things. So I just went to Twitter and boom, there was a whole community. I feel back when I started, that was like 2012, 2013 time where I found this. People were like role playing as Sims, and it was different from how it is today, I feel. But the Twitter community was massive. So I was like, ooh, let me dip my toes in and see if I can make some friends who have the same interests as me. And I was kind of big into like Stan Twitter before that was a thing. So I had one for like musical artists. So I kind of knew how Twitter communities worked. So I just made a Sims dedicated one, which was my English Simmer one. And by that point, I had also kind of decided that I sort of wanted to do it myself. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to try and brand myself as I make this Twitter and be like, videos will come at some point, but I'm just kind of here to talk Sims with people because I love it.
I do love the name English Simmer as well. Like when did you sort of like solidify yourself on that brand name? Because obviously you are English and you are a Simmer, but yeah.
So I was doing English language in uni at the time. So I was like, I'll just combine all of these. I think I kind of thought if people are looking for an English person playing The Sims, then that's quite a good name to have as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had sort of random word and then simmer on the end.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's just go for English simmer.
Yeah, it works.
Just keep it easy.
It's so cute.
And
though.
I'm shocked that it wasn't taken.
I know, because that's the thing, right? Like back in 2012, that's when like things were really starting to ramp up with Twitter and names were starting to fly off the charts left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll
Take
take
it.
that one.
It was meant to be. It was
Back
meant to
pocket.
be yours. Yeah. Did you ever think, like, I know obviously you said that you went to university for English. Like, did you ever think that your career would lead you to doing more in line with The Sims?
No chance. When I started my channel, I was just doing it as a hobby. I was literally just doing it because I enjoyed playing The Sims and I always enjoyed telling stories. And I was like, this is a way to do both of those things with something that I really, really enjoy. By that point, I was watching YouTube. I was super into vloggers, like the old school Brick Crew and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I kind of always, I think as every kid or teenager growing up in that era, like nowadays, it's just like, what's your dream job? And it's YouTuber.
Yeah.
Or streamer. And for me, it wasn't ever like, that's my career goal. That's just something that I enjoy watching and I kind of want to test it out myself. So yeah, when I started, it was really a hobby and I assumed that I was going to get into like publishing or something because I feel like that's what people say you should do if you do an English language degree.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I signed up to like the YouTube partner program, got invited to it, I think after like 100 subscribers. Obviously that shifted a lot since I started. So it was kind of this like unknown thing. Like I knew a couple of people who were part of MCNs, but I didn't really know like how much money you can make off it and stuff like that. So I just started out making videos and then, yeah, the views started coming in and then I think a couple months in, I got like my first paycheck. It was like $100 threshold. So it took a couple of months to like build it up. And then I got my first one. And I think I just loved it so much that even then I was like, it's nice to have a little bit of an income whilst in uni.
Yeah.
Feels like a part-time job that a couple of my friends had whilst we were in uni and stuff. So I was like, I'll just carry on doing this.
Yeah.
And
that's incredible.
it took off.
And here you are.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, like, do you think that you'd ever, I mean, a book in your future, like a Sims related book, do you think that you'd ever explore that possibility?
I think I've always wanted to try and write something. I don't know if I'm good enough yet. I think I need to get my writing practice in because obviously I write like Let's Plays and stuff, but it's very much like brief ideas of overarching themes or stories I want to tell and relations and things. So it's just like scribbles, little like traits and things like that. It's not cohesive storylines in my head. So I think eventually I would love to, but definitely need to practice.
Oh, it'd be amazing. Could you imagine like the history of the world according to Simlish? That'd be incredible.
I feel like I need to do so much research. I know like Susu and that's it. Everyone's like, give your best Simlish impression. I'm like, I know Nubu is baby and that's about it.
That'd be so great. But yeah, and then, you know, moving on from that, Tony Hawk Underground was obviously something that was very big for you. I didn't get into Underground, but I was avid on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. So like what sort of got you into Tony Hawk Underground?
I think again, I always wanted to skateboard when I was younger, but I was so clumsy.
Oh yeah, same.
So like I always had broken bones. Like I broke my wrist so many times when I was a kid from tripping over or playing football and like roller skating, and my brother skateboarded. So I was always like, I want to do it. He was a mosher and I was like, I want the baggy jeans and the chains. Yeah. And I want to go skateboarding and stuff. And so I think I just grew up having Tony Hawk games in the house and skate and things like that. So Tony Hawk Underground, I don't even know what made me pick it up from the shelf. It was probably just like, I'm not going to go skateboarding because I'll probably hurt myself. So instead I'll play a video game of it. And me and my niece used to just sit and watch each other play video games a lot of the time. And so we picked that out, made a skater, and then it was the storyline that kept me coming back. Like, I think I never really played Pro Skater that much and things like that, so I think the storyline of Underground, you started out as a nobody, and then it was like skating the streets of, I think it was New Jersey it was based in, and you could like hang off the wires and like explore the town and like run around the rooftops and things, and I was like, this is so cool. Like, it felt like a game that I hadn't really played much of before, and so I just kept coming back, and the soundtrack was great, and all the different levels were great. There was like mini games that you could play. There was one set in Vancouver that had a little ice rink underneath it, and so you could actually like kick around the puck or like skate with the puck. So we'd play like 2-player and just play hockey in a skateboarding game.
Oh, I love that. That's so cool.
So it just like had loads of little like nooks and crannies to it that we just wanted to explore.
I love that you also got to play it like with your niece quite a bit. So like with regards to that, like do you both like share a sort of similar interest in games, and like how was that sort of relationship with you?
Yeah, I think we definitely share similar gaming history and what we like to play. Because we were together so frequently. Like, she used to come over to ours for the summer holidays, spend all 6 weeks with us, and it would be one of us always had the controller in our hand, and then the other one, we just kind of, sometimes we'd even just turn off the in-game sound and just listen to music and then just like chat. And it was kind of like a Let's Play before Let's Plays were a thing, because you were like, we're gonna do this now, and now we're doing this, and this is the reason why. And I think we always played games like that, where it was like playing make-believe even in a story that was already set. So it was really cool. And then again, like Animal Crossing, we used to sit in the back seat of the car and both play on our islands and be like, I got this villager and I got this villager. So we were always into the same sort of games for sure. She's not as into gaming now. She prefers like the retro stuff.
Gotcha.
Like the things that we used to play. I got her a PS2 for like her 21st a few years ago, and we just stayed up till like 4 a.m. just like playing all the old games that we used to play. So yeah, we still definitely talk about gaming and stuff like that. She wasn't massively into The Sims though, which is weird. That was like the one game that I feel she didn't really explore.
Just like, how dare you?
I think honestly, it was probably me. I was probably like a Sims hogger, and I was like, no, these are my Sims.
To be fair, that is something that like I think comes up with me with my kids, is that like, you know, if I get a bit too mummy dearest about a particular way that I want to play a game, particularly Animal Crossing was that way, whereas it's like, do not touch my island. Like, you can walk around my island, you can sniff my characters, you can interact with them, but how dare you touch my terraforming? Like, please do not do that. You know,
don't kick anyone off this island. Do not bring anyone new onto it.
But I mean, on that note, with regards to Animal Crossing, so which Animal Crossing did you sort of start with?
Not the GameCube one, which was surprising because we had a GameCube and it was probably our main console for a while, because I just felt like every single game ever was released on GameCube.
Oh my God. It was the console that I always wish I had.
It just seemed to be that no matter what publisher it was or anything, like the tiny little discs as well, they were so cool. Whichever the first DS one was, did it have like a...
It probably did. I know there was like a New Leaf.
There's New Leaf, and then there's City Folk. I didn't really like City Folk when I was growing up. I can't remember if it had a tagline. Wild World. Was that the first one? The first one.
Yeah.
I don't
fair
know.
enough. It's okay. It was one of them. It was one like that. It's
New Horizons is 2 in my brain.
Right? Like that's the thing. Like I came in at New Horizons. Like I feel like I'm quite a new person because I didn't have access to things at the GameCube. But like coming into it, I feel like I'm constantly like, do you feel like you compare it a lot to The Sims at times with regards to the building and like just kind of creating your sort of world on Animal Crossing.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the newer one, for sure. Like when Happy or Home Paradise, the DLC came out for it, I was like, oh, this kind of scratches an itch in my brain of like The Sims. Obviously, it's like more restrictive.
Yeah.
But I still love being able to finally sort of personalize a house. Because I remember like growing up, I was like, this isn't the personality I had in mind for this villager. Like I'd walk into their house and be like, ugh, this is gross.
You're not the girl I thought you were.
Yeah, literally. And so I still don't think I've actually unlocked the full, you can shift your actual islanders' houses. I don't think I completed the DLC, but I really loved being able to design their houses on the Paradise Island.
Fix them.
Yeah, literally.
Fix the children.
You're getting sent to that island and you're staying there in your nice home.
Yeah, that I created for you.
Do we have perfectionists in our blood?
Just a little bit. But no, that's amazing. And like, you know, do you have like specific villagers that you sort of like go to that you're just like, this is mine, this is who I need, or like a specific type of race as well, like animal type?
I think I love the deers the most.
They are
but
so
that's
cute.
very basic answer because I feel like everyone loves the deers.
Oh, but we have to say it for the
Yeah.
deers, because like I think
I
is it
love Fuchsia.
Freya or
Freya's a wolf. I think.
which one is
Fuchsia, the pink one.
I had the sort of normal brown one. It's
Fauna.
gone. Fauna, that's
it
it.
Fauna?
Fauna, yeah. She reminded me of my nana.
She's so cute.
And she's so cute. But
See, that's the thing. Like, normal villagers are my favorites, and
Yeah.
everyone calls me basic for it. But I'm like, but they're just
no.
little bookworms, and they like baking,
Yeah.
and they run around like drinking iced tea.
yeah,
Why wouldn't I not love them?
I know. Like, just it's okay. It's okay to like people who like to cook and read, because that's what I like to do, and I'm valid. I heard that like the snobby ones were particularly mild in the new version compared to
so
before.
watered down.
Yeah.
Like, even Fuchsia, who is Uchi, they're like the super cool, like big sister ones.
Yeah.
And even those, like sometimes she'll get a little bit sassy with me, but yeah, in the old ones, I think it's Rasha, his name is. He's like a pig with a big scar across his forehead. And he was angry, or whatever the trait is that they have. And he was so mean.
Really?
And I loved him because
Yeah.
it was that thing of, I can fix him. I can make him love me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just carry on being nice to him and
Kill him with
eventually
kindness.
he'll want to stay.
Yeah.
And he was absolutely just like on one at all times. And I think like, even if you pushed into them like twice, like accidentally, they'd be in a mood with you all day. Like, they'd walk around the island with like the little puffs of
Yeah.
like anger coming off them, and you wouldn't be able to speak to them. They'd just be like, leave me alone.
Oh.
And I feel like in the new one, you have to shove them so far to like get them to snap. Whereas, you had to have a full cooldown period, I feel, on the old ones.
Maybe they realized how traumatizing it was for people pleasers.
Yeah,
too.
to be fair, I definitely feel like I got rejection issues from my Animal Crossing villagers.
Yeah. Oh, so sad. But yeah, and then, you know, with like New Horizons particularly, I mean, did you get it like right in the height of like the pandemic?
Yeah.
So like, what was that experience like, experiencing that with so many other people?
Oh, it was incredible. I was so excited for that game to come out. Like, in my adult life, I don't think I remember a time being as excited for a video game. It was like the good old days of where you used to get like a leaflet in the like expansion pack before, and it was like, this game is coming soon, and you'd build it up. And it was that, like, I was so ready for a new Animal Crossing. I was watching like every little YouTube, like 50 details in the trailer you might have missed. Like, every single week I was checking for all new Animal Crossing videos. And so when it landed, I had it on pre-order and everything. I was like, day one, we're doing this.
Yeah.
And it was incredible. Like, I excuse me, I was streaming on Twitch at the time, and I knew I wanted to stream Animal Crossing because I was like, this is such an important game to me. Like, I've played it from being little, and I do play outside of The Sims. Like, I do like some variety content, usually just like games that interest me. And so I knew I wanted to do it, and I feel because so many others were playing it, like all at the same time, like I would go on Twitter and everyone would be talking about it, and so many new people joined my community around that time. Like this is really bizarre, but like I grew up watching Zoella, and they were streaming it on like Twitch at the time, and they raided into me at one point in the pandemic, like a few months into it, and I was like, what?
Whoa.
Like, how has this crossover happened?
Like, hi Zoella.
Yeah, like I had a proper fangirl. Like, I tried to play it so cool.
Yeah,
I was just like, love your content, but inside I was like, this is
screaming,
massive, because like I think it is one of those games that so many of us grew up with, and everyone was just so happy to have it. But also, it coming out at the period of time that it did, it just felt like it brought the world together. It felt like when Pokemon Go came out for the first time, and everyone was playing it.
Yeah, everybody was like going outside and walking and enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
No, I totally feel that. And yeah, I mean, I didn't get it like right away because I always wanted to play Animal Crossing, but I just was still on the fence, and even on the fence about a console. Yeah. So I ended up getting my Switch because
so many people
just to play Animal Crossing
because of it.
And I'm so thankful that it brought me to that, because the Switch is now easily one of my favorite consoles
I love it.
Of all time.
Yeah.
It was quite a nostalgic moment for us to just have like all be experiencing joy from a game.
It was so cute. Like, it was so wholesome and just nice to witness everyone just being happy about something.
Especially at a time that was so hard. Because like, what was sort of the lockdown situation for you? Like, were you on your own? Like, were you?
I luckily moved back in with my parents, I want to say 2 weeks before it all really kicked off.
Gosh.
Like, before we went into
like
full
6 cents
lockdown. Yeah. And so I moved back in, and I was so thankful that I was with them. Because like, obviously I would have had streaming and things like that, but it was just so nice to have family around you in that like moment. And so I still got to carry on with my job, obviously, like, and have that experience with my community. And it was nice to feel like you were connected with people still. So I was very fortunate in that situation. But I think that's why online gaming and having like things like Twitch, where you can connect with people weekly and things like that, and check in on a community and actually feel like, even though might not be talking to someone out loud, if you're not playing online, it was still so important. And I knew that I wanted to, like, I mean, luckily for me, it meant that I didn't really have a lot else going on. Like, nothing else was really taking up my time. So I still kind of kept it to my usual schedule, but it really felt like I could just focus on that, which was really nice.
It was like an interesting reset for, I think, a lot of us in that regard. Like, yeah, it was just like a weird social reset. Because now, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm so excited to like see people in public, like, still. I mean, we're about a year or so since like the really big stuff happened, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I just want to see everybody again.
Yeah, I was saying, like, this is one of the first things that I've done, and it feels like nice to see people in person and reconnect in this way.
Yeah, it's so nice. And now, you know, moving on from, obviously we're still in very Nintendo theme, but Pokemon was also something that was very important to you. And I love the pictures on your Instagram of you with your is it your, I'm guessing it's your niece with you dressed up as
me dressed up as like Ash. So that's me and my niece. I was a massive Pokemon lover. Anime, I think I got into the cards first. I think Pokemon, maybe anime first, like watching it on a Saturday morning, and then obviously like Pokemon cards came out, and I always have had the collector in me. I think obviously a lot of gamers also have that. And so when they announced like Pokemon cards, we used to go like to little festivals where you used to trade and things. Like I never even really played the Pokemon card game. It was just collecting and having them in my file was really fun, and like shinies and things like that.
Gosh, the shiny ones are so cool.
Yeah, so I used to like go to the corner shop every Friday and buy myself like 2 booster packs. And open them, and that would be like what I would spend my pocket money on growing up. And so I got super into that, and then I think, I pretty much had a Game Boy always. My first one was a Game Boy Color, so that's what I started off on, and then I played Pokemon Red because I was a Manchester United supporter, and my brother was City, so he had Blue. So we always had like the opposite to each other, so that we could do trades if we wanted to. I remember it was like we played it back in the day where they didn't really have like backlights on the Game Boy, so you used to have to plug
the little adapter
little lamp into the top of your Game Boy and then put it on the screen, and like we'd be playing in the back seat of the car, like barely being able to read it.
Oh, it's so good.
And so Pokemon, I've played most of them, I feel, growing up, but Ruby was really the one where I think that was the first one that I completed the whole storyline, because I was really young when I started playing Pokemon. Like I'm actually quite impressed that I managed to read that much. Like I think I always loved reading, so it not being voice acted, I was like, oh, this actually is quite fun because I can create my own voices for these people. And I used to talk to everyone. And I still do that now in video games. Like in exploration games, I have to talk to everyone and explore every little piece of information. And so Ruby was the first one where I think storyline wise, I was like, I'm gonna catch the legendary. I'm gonna do it this time. And I think I was of that age where a lot of my friends were also playing it, so we used to go around to each other's houses and just sit and play it together.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, but no, like Pokemon. Gaming in general. Like I that's what I loved it for, was the fact that like it helped. I mean, recently with my daughter, like it helps her read. Because like it's so important, but you're forced to do it a lot of the time, but you're excited about it.
Yeah, exactly.
As well.
It doesn't feel like you're doing like homework or anything like that. Like I imagine like Animal Crossing with the museum and stuff is really educational actually for children.
Yeah.
Like I love that.
Yeah. Like that got us through lockdown, was just going in the museum. But yeah, for Allie, she's currently going through Let's Go Pikachu still. She just loves it. Like we just keep playing it because I was like at odds of which one to get her first. But yeah, it's so true. There's so many benefits to playing those types of games. And I do kind of get sad at times when they do, like, not to like douse all like voice actors, but it's just like, but sometimes there's some games where it's actually preferable to not have voice acting that you can do that.
I've never minded Pokemon not having voice actors. Like I think I really enjoy the Pokemon soundtracks, and it's kind of like Stardew Valley in that sense as well. Like I think if a game has enough character, it doesn't really need voice acting. Like don't get me wrong, I feel as if I love the changes that like Pokemon, I never know how to pronounce it, Arceus.
Yeah,
I always say Arceus.
I say Arceus.
And then I really love the changes that brought. I have to say, I think that is my favorite Pokemon game I've ever played.
It is really
But again, it was that grindy sort of completionist in me where I was like, oh, I just have to catch Pokemon?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sign me up.
I know. But the freaky Pokemon though. Like that's the only reason why like I haven't officially, like I haven't gotten it. So I reviewed it, but like I haven't committed to like letting Allie play it yet, because those Pokemon with the red eyes.
Yeah, the alphas.
What the heck? Like there's just the fact that they're so angry.
They're massive as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that is quite, because I found the bosses quite, like, it took a few turns for me to get used to it. Because obviously you kind of have to learn what they're going to do, and then you can like dodge and stuff like that. But yeah, I imagine it is a lot harder for kids. Like, I think Let's Go is a really good starting point, because it feels like you're doing it. It feels like you're throwing the Pokeball.
Yeah.
And therefore you're like, oh, I caught it.
Exactly. And like only just now, Allie's realized that I have Zapdos, and I got major mom cred the other day because she's just like, Mom, you have a legendary bird. I'm like, yeah, I do. You know, Mom's got it.
I do love that credit of being like, yeah, I'm what?
I can't get any of the other ones, but we'll stick with Zapdos. But you know, another really big game for you was Life is Strange, and I think, like, you know, for a lot of us that was like such a big game. But like, what was it? When did it sort of come out for you? Like, what was it like for you at the time that Life is Strange, you first played it and that type of thing?
Yeah, so I was in university. I think it was like maybe my second or my third year. And I'd been following Life is Strange really closely, like all throughout its development. Like if I saw it on like a magazine cover, like Life is Strange or anything talking about the development, I was like, oh, let me grab that. Whenever I was traveling, I would always read about it. So I was really excited for it, even without really knowing a lot about it. Like I knew that it was a story-driven, choice-based game, and I tend to love those kind of games. And I love the art style. I think that's what really like made me gravitate towards it, because I was like, this just looks really cool. Like, this
it's so cute.
This looks like all the indie movies that I kind of grew up like watching and stuff. So I was like, yeah, this looks like fun. And then I decided to record it on YouTube, and honestly, like, I also love how it was episodic as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, was this your first episodic game?
I had played like The Walking Dead, Telltale's Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us, but I feel like I came into those late. So I think all of Walking Dead was done by the time I found it, and then The Wolf Among Us had like maybe 3 episodes out by the time I found it. So Life is Strange was the first one where I was like from the get-go.
Oh
like,
my goodness.
And I loved it because it kind of built that anticipation. Like, you got this slight little preview of what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
But I just loved the story. I think the characters were incredible, and it was very much at a time in my life where I was like, I don't think I'm straight, but I'm not ready to admit that to anyone but myself.
Yeah.
And so I started playing through that game, and I was like, oh, is this happening? Like, it was very much like towing the line of like, this could go very much like Beatty, being like, we're gonna have 2 female protagonists like flirt with one another, but it's not gonna go there. And then it happily like surprised me, and I was like, oh, you actually do get this option, and it was really nice. And yeah, even like going back and watching those videos is so funny, because I've played all of the Life is Strange games on my channel, and seeing kind of my confidence in myself and my sexuality, like back then I was like, do I, don't I, and really like umming and ahhing, whereas now if I ever replay it, I'm like, save Chloe, kiss Chloe,
everything Chloe.
Yeah. And so it was a really important game for me, where I was like, this kind of felt as if it was everything that I was going through in the moment.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't really set up to be like a love story in my mind. Like, I wasn't expecting it, and then it just happily turned into that, and it sort of felt like I didn't know that part of Max, and I didn't really know that part of myself. And then when I was playing it, I was like, wow, like, I'm literally feeling everything I feel this character is feeling.
It could also kind of be an allegory for finding your sexuality, like Life is Strange in general, because depending on what path you choose, she's either able to accept herself as a lesbian or not. And it is kind of like, it's like kind of like that as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's what I really like about just the Life is Strange series in general. Like, the fact that it always gives you the option to choose, and it's just like people are like, oh, it's so cringe. Like, ugh. I'm like, it was made before 2014. We were all cringy. I think that's what I liked about it as well. Like, it did have that teenage cringe of what I definitely knew I was like as a younger teenager.
Yeah, teenagers are freaking cringe. Like, what are you like? Honestly, like, but no, I think that was. Yeah, Life is Strange is such a beautiful game because I'm a massive fan of it as well, and yeah, it's just one of those. It's the fact that it was that like women relationship, like just two women just being friends,
Yeah,
and being together, and like the experiences they have and the love that you knew that they had for each other.
yeah.
It was just so genuine.
Yeah, it was so easy to connect with, I feel, so many characters in that game. And that's what I love about it. And the fact that I will always go back to it and always have those same feelings, which is so nice. And yeah, it's just hilarious to go back and watch like little baby gay Mollie like figuring stuff out, and just also not being like as in your face as I am about it like nowadays.
I know. Oh, bless them. We would be sort of remiss if we didn't ask what your sort of hopes were for The Sims 5, aka probably Project Rename, but we won't say that because. But like, what would be like your musts for a new Sims game?
So interesting because I kind of want the nostalgia of like deep storytelling that The Sims 2 had. My perfect Sims game would be 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
All mixed together, basically. Like to be fair, open world, I know a lot of people come for me for this opinion. I wasn't too fussed about open world not being there. I would like open neighborhoods if they were going down a Sims 4 route. It definitely feels like restrictive in a sense to not be able to just pop over to someone's house. So yeah, I think just a mix of all three of those. I think the depth and the storytelling and the characteristics of 2, and then sort of, I mean, the depth that 3 had for sure. Like that was a massive game that definitely felt like it came out before its time. Like it just felt so huge for what it was at the time that it came out. Like it was unreal. And going back to it now, I still like, I did a whole series on my YouTube where it was things that I've never done in The Sims 3, and I played that for years and went so in depth with it, but there was still expansion packs I hadn't covered and just little tiny things. And then 4, I love the art style of 4. I kind of hope they stay with that sort of art style. I mean, from what we've seen so far, it looks like it's going to be so customizable.
Yeah.
Which scares me slightly because with the Sims 3 color wheel, I was like, there's too many options. I can't do this.
Well, my trouble was that the Sims 3 always broke my computer. It just couldn't handle it at all.
Can we get a Sims game that runs and has a strong foundation and that is easy to build upon? And yeah.
Yeah,
no, those definitely are my main priorities, that it works,
that's functional. Yeah, no. And you know, considering the sort of lovely selection of games that we have here, what do you feel your sort of top 5 games says about you in terms of you as a gamer, you as a person?
Definitely a person who loves stories, a person who wants to deeply connect with characters. For sure, whether they're my own that I've created or whether they're someone else's work, and definitely like explorative. I don't think any game is off the table for me.
What are you sort of working on at the moment, in terms of like what's next for English Simmer?
Continuing with Sims, I do like expansion pack releases. We've just got Growing Together, which I'm very much looking forward to. I've gone old school Let's Play with that one. That's how I'm branding it. It's very much like we're gonna take our time with this. We're gonna bring in all the other packs to it and just like explore it to its fullest, because that's what I feel like that expansion pack needs. It's such a behind the scenes sort of one, but it's so in depth, and I really love that it doesn't really hold your hand whilst you're playing it. It's kind of just like, here's a spanner in the works, and it feels kind of like Sims 2-y. So that, and then I still streaming twice a week over on Twitch, so really loving that. I think ever since like the pandemic, I've cultivated a really cool community over on Twitch, and I just love getting to check in every week over there and just play games and nerd out together. And
no, they're really, really lovely. But honestly, it's been so incredible to speak with you. And so if just for reference, like if you want to say where we can all find you.
Yeah, of course. So it's youtube.com/theEnglishSimmer, and then my Twitch is twitch.tv/EnglishSimmer.
Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on the show,
Thank
Mollie.
you for
It's been
having me.
so lovely speaking with you.
I've loved it.